been in a Toy Story film. Yeah, it's, I mean, again, I think I have to speak to the technical and then to the characters and then to the ambition of storytelling. I think the excellence across the board that the creators and all of the, you know, both technically and the writing, the performances, it's really, you know, world class. And the heart from the films, the sensitivity, the inventiveness. So to be able to play a character and be a part of that world, when I received the invitation, I was like, wow, cool. And then when I met everyone, I was like, oh, okay, this is why they're really great, you know. And then to have the chance to have such a great character as Duke KABOOM, I was like, wow, this is pretty awesome. So it was a really great experience. I play Duke KABOOM in the film, and he's a daredevil, a stunt man. He's a toy that he's got his motorcycle, the KABOOM cycle, and he's a character, you know, he's very brave, he's got a lot of heart, he's friends with Bo Peep in the world, and he has a sensitivity to him because he had a, you know, when he was unboxed in Christmas, Boxing Day, you know, he was, you know, his friend was Rajan, but, you know, there was a commercial that said I could, you know, jump the Grand Canyon and all of these things, and he played with a toy, and I couldn't do it. It was a commercial, Rajan, a commercial. And this is kind of his wound. And through the course of the film, which is often the case in Toy Story, there's healing. And it's healing through the friendships, the companionships, the adventure, the task. You know, there's a lot of kind of teaching moments, but also, you know, through character and through love, you know, that wound for Duke is healed, you know. So I love Duke KABOOM.
I play Gabby, who starts off sort of seeming like the villain, and she's a 1950s doll who had a dysfunctional voice box her entire life. So a child never wanted to play with her, and of course a toy's entire purpose is to be loved by a child and to love a child. So Gabby lives in an antique store, has her whole life in a curio cabinet, and Forky and Woody are off looking for Bo, and Woody sees her lamp in the window, so goes into this antique store. And there aren't a lot of toys that come and go into this antique store. So Gabby comes across them with her henchmen, which are these wonderfully creepy ventriloquist dolls that sort of wheel her around in her little stroller pram. And she befriends Woody and Forky right away. And she notices quite quickly that Woody might have something that she desires. Josh Cooley directed this, and he did such an amazing job. He had such a clear idea of who these characters were and what he wanted, but was also collaborative and wanted to play. But it's a big deal to come into the Toy Story franchise and be the new director, and I think he just did it with such confidence and like such a clear vision that it made me feel really comfortable when I was in the room and felt like I had a really safe place to try things out and nothing was wrong, and we could just have a lot of fun, and I really appreciated that.
Pixar has had a phenomenal success at hitting them out of the park, and I didn't think that 2 could be as good as 1 because one was so complete. 2 broadened it up a little bit. 3 drilled it. And then when Andy said goodbye, and the last shot is us on the porch, which if I recall, that was the last shot of the movie. It's supposed to be. But again, my memory is that the little girls, Bonnie, saw us. We go, wait a minute, she could probably take care of us. And you're thinking to yourself in preliminary look at it, hey, why not? And then they came up with 4, and it changed many times. The story changed. I only got snippets of it. Of course, is Buzz got a bigger part besides just always watching Woody's back? Woody, look out! Look out, Woody! It seemed to me for a while that's what I was saying, and It's the story they came up with, but in a different variation. And I said, yeah, that it was any chance to do. I love these characters. I love playing Buzz. So yeah, I said I was all in. It was a long way to go to say Toy Story 4. Yes. I read the first draft, and that was good. And then there was a working animation that was almost like, I think, better than Toy Story 1. I mean, the technology, overall, this thing is so beautifully shot. It's so rich. It's almost startling. The hair on the kid's head and it was amazing. Looking at Bonnie's eyes, it was a lot of it was amazing.
Back in the first one, all the toys had a real good understanding of their place at that time at Andy's room. And there was this interloper that came in the form of Buzz Lightyear, who didn't realize what he was. You don't get it. You're Andy's toy, and therefore you got big responsibilities. And here comes Forky, and he wasn't even a thing. He was just this collection of pipe cleaners and I guess some Play-Doh, maybe a little bit, and a disposable utensil to eat pudding with. And he doesn't even realize that he has number one, a consciousness, but also number two, a job. He thinks he's trash. And so it's like Woody has to project onto him. He's got to educate him as opposed to the importance of where he stands. He's got this heavy burden of responsibility, and that he has to, organize everybody. But in this case, he also has to provide a reason and guidance for Forky, who normally would be afraid of everything and throw himself away.
I play a character named Ducky, and he is a plush toy that is spent his entire existence, most of his existence, connected to a pegboard wall at a carnival, and he is threaded through it like a small piece of like polyurethane to another toy named Bunny. And they're inseparable. But at the same time, they have been waiting their entire existence to be one. And they've spent their entire existence watching kids get cheated by carnies. and so they have a very jaded outlook on life. And so he's very loyal to Bunny. They bicker. They're like an old couple. They bicker like an old couple. But they have deep affection for each other, which you learn in the movie. But also there's this. Every moment of their life is anticipatory. Everything is. Am I going to get one today? Is it? And oh no! And then and the other thing about the pegboard is that they're some of the only toys left on the pegboard. It's like they're in the worst real estate, top right corner. And so it's like no one's looking up here at a little duck that was made in Taiwan. So I think he also has some self-esteem issues that he covers up with aggression.